A man abandoned his dog at a subway station and never came back. But the dog kept waiting for him there, rain or shine, for 5 long years. One day, a newspaper reporter grew curious and, after talking with a vendor, learned its story. When the dog was first brought to Professor Ueno's home, it was weak and dying, but a bowl of milk saved its life. The professor named it Hachiko. While the servants often teased Hachi, the professor always defended him. Grateful, Hachi grew close to him, greeting him at the door every evening. As Hachi got older, he began walking his master to the station each morning and waiting there in the evening to take him home. Their bond grew stronger each day. On New Year's, when the professor's daughter came to visit, he brushed her off to play with Hachi instead. She warned her mother that the dog might steal her father's love. That night, during a storm, Hachi got soaked in his doghouse. The professor carried him inside, dried him off, and they both fell asleep peacefully. The next morning, the professor went to work as usual, but Hachi seemed uneasy, barking and trying to stop him from leaving. The professor walked him to the station. Hachi's eyes grew wet as he watched his master disappear. Sure enough, the professor collapsed from a heart attack during class and never came home. That evening, Hachi waited at the station in vain. When he returned home, he saw people carrying a coffin. He didn't understand death, only that his master's scent was gone. That night, Hachi sat by the funeral altar and cried, while the professor's wife wept at the sound. Later, the widow decided to sell the house and sent Hachi far away to relatives. On a rainy night, tied outside, he broke free and journeyed hundreds of miles back to his old home, only to find new owners smashing his doghouse, unwilling to keep him. Heartbroken, Hachi was taken in by a kind neighbor, Chizaburo, though his wife disliked dogs. One day, the professor's widow came to visit and was stunned to learn that Hachi still went to the station every day at the same hour, waiting for her husband. When she saw him there with her own eyes, her heart ached. She asked Chizaburo to keep an eye on him, but tragedy struck again. Chizaburo died suddenly, and his wife drove Hachi out. From then on, he lived as a stray, yet never failed to return to the station each day to wait. 5 more years passed. The vendors nearby watched him with pity. Hachi knew his master would never return, but he stayed out of love and loyalty. His story spread in the papers, and when the professor's widow came to see him, she was crushed to find him frail and weathered. She wanted to take him home, but Hachi slipped away, afraid of being abandoned again. Afraid he wouldn't make it back to the station, the widow asked the vendors to feed him, but Hachi always refused their food, surviving as a stray. One night, starving and badly injured after a fight with other dogs, he finally dragged himself to the vendor's stall. A diner mocked him as a stupid stray, but the vendor drove the man off and gave Hachi food. Another 5 years passed. Hachi was now just skin and bones, a shadow of his old self. On a snowy night, like the night he was born, he came to the station once more. This time, he finally saw his master's familiar face. Overjoyed, he ran toward him. The professor welcomed him with the same warmth as always. At last, Hachi's lifelong wish was fulfilled. He stayed with his beloved master forever, in a dream he would never wake from.